Yo, 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 it's your boy Vigilante Styles here, another late night mix session. So I've been thinking about some things. Um, I am back on Metric Halo. And the reason why is, Serban is smarter than me. That's what I think. And a lot of the plugins that they sell nowadays, these Black Friday sales and everything, well, when you check them out under Plugin Doctor, um, if they are good, you have to use a lot of CPU power in order to take advantage of the harmonics and stuff, uh, alias free. Um, or you can just mix digital, which is what I'm going to do. And, if you want to add some analog vibe, that's going to be on your master bus, right? So we got a tape machine on the master bus, and they work at 48K, and of course it goes limiter into a limiter. So and we'll mess around with that in a little while. But we'll go ahead and just start mixing. So let's go. Oh, and we're mixing one of my beats, by the way. And that's it right there. So this is just following the advice of John Haynes, which is Serban Gania's assistant engineer. And this is just following the advice they have. Now, there's no vocals on this one, so there's no vocal chain on this, but the vocal chain that I believe they talked about was using an 11 CLA 76 of all plugins, and then the metric halo channel, and then a de-esser. I think they use the Renaissance de-esser from Waves, which I don't know if I have that or not. I don't know if I have it. I got R bass. No, but I don't have the Renaissance de-esser. So I just use the Analog Obsession Loads, which is a great de-esser. So, and that's about it. That's how they get their sound. So basically, the metric halo is a clean channel strip. So we're just basically mixing clean, and then the only thing that's giving it any kind of color is the tape machine. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Harrison Mix Bus, because that's basically how they operate. So that kind of tells me that maybe their system wasn't as bad as I originally thought. It's tailored to how people mix in the box. But their marketing sold everybody a bill of goods saying that it was a Harrison console. I mean, I guess it is in the box, but not really a console. It's this setup. It's, it's digital channel strips with no saturation, no color, and then saturation on the bus, right? In this case, the master bus. And they had a limiter on their stuff too. And here, you would mix to the limiter, right? And that was it. And I think I turned on oversampling. So, in a way, this is really no different than Harrison Mix Bus. Also, another thing you might want to take note of is that these bells here in the metric halo, they do cramp if you push them toward Nyquist. So, but Serban and a lot of great other engineers have used this channel strip despite that limitation. Of course, you could just flip the curve to a shelf, and therefore you don't have to worry about the cramping. I know that technically the shelf cramps too, but that's not the point. You obviously just don't want that weird narrow spike at the near Nyquist that then kind of dulls everything in a way. So you would just switch to a shelf. So there you have it. Like I said, that's essentially how Harrison Mix Bus works. Crazy, man. Crazy. But that's how they do it. And, but then why didn't they just tell people that's what they were doing? Why did they just try to sell everybody a bunch of bull crap, Fucking bullshit. But this works for me. I don't have to use them. I can just do this here, and it uses a lot less. Now, see, I'm using like almost 40% CPU, but that's because the beat was made also. These are not just tracks. Like this is the beat. All the beat plugins are in here too. That were used in the beat. So I'm mixing right in the session of the beat. But otherwise, if you were to not be doing that, this thing would be like 10% CPU for the whole session. Like, it's just, which is nice, your computer's not over there sweating really hard and blowing hot air all over the place. And then second of all, I mean, you're still getting a excellent sound. So why change anything, So my issue with a lot of the other plugins is that there's aliasing, and that if you want to get rid of the aliasing, you got to run high project sample rates or oversample the hell out of your plugins. And in a large session, this is not a large session, but on a large session, that would definitely become a major problem fast. So that is why I am looking toward just mixing digital. I could do stock plugins too, but I just like a channel strip. That's really the thing. I could easily just use like Fruity parametric EQ2 and like the Fruity limiter, and then we use the compressor on that, and then call it a day, right? But I just like the channel strip layout. I can mix faster for the workflow. I can mix faster. You're gonna get pretty much the same sound. So you could do it with stock plugins. You don't really need to you don't need to go and shell out money for Metric Halo unless you like that workflow. So, but I do. I like the workflow. I don't know any other channel strips that give you like basically like the kind of EQ you get from like parametric EQ2, Fruity parametric EQ2. But, because you have the knobs here, but you can actually like control that there and then control your compression and gates and limiter. This also has a gate on it too, but there's no reason to gate anything. There's nothing to gate. But having all these controls right here, I mean, you can't really beat this as far as having a digital, sterile channel strip that's not going to add any color to the sound, which is good because, maybe you got source material that's already has like a lot of saturation on it. Well, obviously you don't want to saturate it any more than that. We have the tape machine here. That's about it. So anyway, if you like this video, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, check out my other videos. I got a lot of opinions on a lot of other things. I still don't think the analog emulations are bad, okay? It's just that, that you're gonna have to crank out some CPU to get it to act right. But otherwise, if you are kind of like me and you don't want to crank out that much CPU, that still sounded pretty damn good. Another thing you could do, you don't have to use the tape machine. Let's imagine that you remove the tape machine, just use Pro L2. Well, you can go to Mix Analog, right? That's mixanalog.com. Go to them, create an account, and then buy some Mix Analog tokens, and then use the tape machine there. And use an actual real tape machine as opposed to a plug-in tape machine. It's the plug-in tape machine sounds good, but it doesn't sound as good as a real tape machine. And you also have other things, like you might want to treat your tracks before mixing. So you might go, well, I know that I'm going to use a certain like say 1176. You want to use 1176, you can go to Mix Analog, use their 1176. Or you might say, hey, I want to run my vocals through a 1073 preamp first, right? And use the hardware. You don't want to use a plug-in, right? You can use the hardware there, print those tracks, and then set up your session, your Metric Halo, and everything else. And then you can leave the tape machine off then if you have all that saturation going. And then if you want to go back and take that final mix and run it through an actual tape machine, that'll sound even better than using the plug-in. And you're going to get a real fire mix. And, you don't really need to have everything in here doing analog emulation, So, anyhow, I'm going to go print this mix and then I'm going to master it. And that's that. So you guys take care, man. And I'm out. Peace.